Great. Good morning, all. Lovely to see you all here. So we are going to be having a discussion this morning with my esteemed guests and colleagues here, all about travel is about the journey, digital or otherwise. It's a real truism to say life is about the journey, not the destination. And I think in our kind of digital first, mobile first, phono sapien age, that's never been more true, and it's never been more important for travel brands to engage with customers with a really good mobile and digital CX. So we're going to be deep diving into all of these issues and much more. But perhaps we could kick off by, if you'd just like to introduce yourself to the audience, say a little bit about what you do, starting with your good self.
No problem. So I'm James. I work for P&O Cruises. We're part of the Carnival Corporation.
Quite close.
So we're part of the Carnival Corporation. So Carnival Corporation is probably the biggest travel and leisure brand in the world. But P&O Cruises is one of the 9 brands, and we source all of our guests from the UK, and we operate 7 ships, and we've got an extra ship coming along in 2020, which will be the biggest cruise ship ever to serve the UK market. And my role for the business is I'm digital marketing manager, so I look after all of our digital marketing before they get on the cruise ship. And then one of the things that we're evolving at the moment is the marketing that we do when they're on board and the experience they have while they're on their holiday.
My name is Maria. I'm working for TUI Group. I think what's quite interesting is the fact we consider ourselves as well as one of the biggest travel companies in the world. So we got a TUI right now in the house. I'm working for the Mobile Center of Excellence, and we're looking into delivering the better experience and improved experience for our customers, and equally how to sort of capitalize on that. So I'm a senior commercial mobile manager.
Hi, good morning. I'm Remy. I'm working for Carlson Rezidor Hotel Group, or should I say HNA Hospitality, because we have been bought by our Chinese friends. Whatever that will bring to us, probably new consumers and new habits and new behaviors, which we will have to build into our plans. What I'm trying to do is that we are part of this very old hotel business legacy, and as much as you have seen Fred Corrales or Cedric, who was my previous boss actually, trying to rejuvenate the hotel experience, I'm trying to bring this digital experience into the customer journey. And that's a challenge in the hotel industry because we are binded to legacy and to habits. It's very difficult to bring change in this industry.
Great points. Thank you very much. And just by way of introduction, my name is Oisín Lunny. A little bit difficult to pronounce the first one there. It's an old Irish name, of course. It's difficult to spell, impossible to pronounce. And I'm Chief Evangelist at Open Market, and we help the world's largest companies connect with their consumers by using mobile messaging. So it's awesome companies like TUI and Virgin Trains and Virgin Atlantic, a lot of travel and hospitality companies. So yesterday at M20, on the closing keynote of the travel stage, I saw a great speech from Zazie Walters from KLM. And she had this wonderful slide, and she said, to travel in 2017, all you need is your passport, your toothbrush, and your mobile. To what extent are your passengers and also your businesses embracing the new phono sapien consumer? Whoever wants to kick that off.
So yeah, go on, I'll go first. I love KLM. Every time we talk about good examples in the travel industry, KLM are always the example that we go to. So what degree is that true? I think it depends what kind of holiday you're looking for. So if I think holidays have moved from going to collect objects from abroad places and photo cards and things like that. And it's more about experiencing it, and you can capture that experience on your phone, Facebook, 360 videos, 360 images. So to a degree with your mobile, you can capture and share that experience more than you ever could. You don't need to take your postcards and send them to your family, friends, and stuff like that. But I think if you're looking for a bit more entertainment stuff on the experience, you probably need a bit more than your passport and just your mobile.
Fair comment. Absolutely. Maria.
So for us, I think it would depend on different source market. We're hopefully getting there, definitely not 100%, but you surely can actually take your phone. We would hope you get the mobile boarding pass. You can actually jump on one of our planes. You can check into hotel in some of our markets, and then equally, obviously, you can even check what's going on in certain hotel. So it goes to the certain stage where you don't even need to go back to the lobby. You just chill around the pool and, well, I want to go for yoga, I know where the yoga is. And hopefully also in coming months you will be able to also know what time is your transfer time. So even again, hassle-free, no more sort of lines at the reception desk. So we're definitely trying to even improve further the customer experience, and I think still we want to also keep you guys engaged throughout the holidays. So thanks.
Very good. Remy?
Yeah, I actually like that quote because it's the reality of our customer base today, is that yesterday, or actually still a lot of companies are still doing that today, is they put their customers into boxes. In the hotel industry, you had this traditional leisure and corporate segmentation, which was the two biggest boxes of our industry. And then you were building products that you tried to push into the boxes. Whatever their needs were, actually you were building because you felt that that was the good product that you were pushing into that box. Today, that's completely different, is that every customer or consumer at one moment of the day is different, has a different need. And 2 hours later or in the evening might have, again, a different need. And that's very complex for us, very complicated for us, because we need to adapt. The experience that Cedric and Fred were talking about is all about experience, is that we have to adapt that experience following the moment that the customer or that particular need that the customer has. I mean, in my mind, if you do a research, you know, you have 3,000 respondents to a research. Well, actually, the purchase path to buy a hotel room or to buy a cruise or to buy an experience will be different 3,000 times. And for marketers like us, it brings a level of complexity because you have to be able to build 3,000 pieces of content to push to those customers. So, but I like the quote because that's how it is. If you have your passport and your toothbrush, all the rest, we will have to adapt to what the need is of the customer.
Yeah, amazing, really good point. I mean, at Open Market, we talk about something called the empathetic interaction, which is exactly, as you were saying, Remy, which is you look for the individual user at that individual moment, and instead of expecting them to do everything on the terms of the company, which doesn't really wash with the millennials or centennials, so forget about it, the company has to do things on their terms and actually change the CX and make it really, really compelling. I mean, Forrester Research said within, I think, 4 to 5 years, CX, the customer experience, is going to be the primary differentiator for pretty much every company in many verticals. What do you guys see around that trend, around CX, and how are you changing the customer experience using technology? Who'd like to dive in?
Yeah, so I'll go first. So we are trying to understand, it's back to the earlier point about we're trying to understand exactly the behaviors and insights that we have with our customers, and so we can make the customer journey work for them. And I think it's a fair comment that we used to have the boxes that we pushed particular people and particular audiences into, and now it's about actually trying to understand where they are. And we all love the marketing funnel, and they start at the top and they go through down to book and explore. But actually, we're not finding that to be true. So we need a customer experience that works with their current knowledge of the industry, their knowledge of our products, and what they're looking to get out of what we can offer. So it's trying to make it more customizable, more personalized, and we've been seeing some good results from that.
And Maria, you spoke about knowing your customer, the importance of personalization. How are you deploying that?
So I think also just back on the previous question, you kind of need to know the experience curve of your customer journey. So once you identify the pain points or the winning points, that's much more easier to sort of use and apply different technologies to ease that. And then you can obviously apply different customer segments, let it be millennials or a little bit more traditional, I think, customer groups equally, and sort of tweak that experience to make it more funky for them, as well as engaging, sort of seamless. And I think in terms of what's the key to it is obviously the holy grail of personalization and getting that to every single level of customer, which is extremely complex. And I think that's fair to say for all of our businesses, because these businesses sit on a very much of legacy IT systems, and that is tough business and a tough challenge.
Absolutely. Remy, have anything to add around personalization and changing the CX using tech?
Yes. The way we are looking at it is at two different levels. You have the true customer experience when they leave the product, and again, in the hotel industry, it's a big change to bring in the hotel industry because as you know, the big hotel chains, standardization was king in the past because that was the business model. That was the way of doing profits in hotels, is to reduce as much as possible the cost of building a hotel room. Cedric talked about it before, and in order to do that, well, you build the same hotel room in a factory and you send that hotel room across the world, and that's how we were building the hotels. We have to change that, of course, because that doesn't work anymore. But at the same time, we still have investors looking at return on investment, and we still have to provide profitability. So the challenge at the hotel level is big, because where we can make the difference is not specifically related to the hotel product. That needs to be a good hotel product. You know, at the end, the customer still wants to sleep, have a shower, and take a breakfast. If you have understood that in the hotel as a hotel product, that's fine. Where you can make the difference is everything around it. And also on the marketing side, because now the experience doesn't start when you hit the entrance door of the hotel or when you join a boat for your cruise. It's when you start thinking about going on holidays or thinking about your next corporate trip or business trip that you need to do. That's where the experience. And that's also where, without impacting the experience at the hotel level, where we can also make the difference, is how you consider the way you market your products. And there, thousands of opportunities out there, but you need to be smart to understand what are the opportunities that speaks the best to your consumer. So for me, the marketing, the traditional marketing funnel, like we called it, throw it away. That's not working anymore. Now it's a cycle that starts over and over and over. A customer that has come to you 10 times, that doesn't mean that same customer will come an 11th time. There's no insurance about that. Absolutely not. You have to restart the whole cycle to again engage with him. So it's an infinite opportunity to engage with your customer. But again, it's a big change that cannot happen from one day to the other. And technology can help huge time with that, because if you adopt easy technology to reach your customers, that will help you to understand this new marketing cycle.
I couldn't agree with you more. So you kind of touched on actually the whole relationship between yourselves as brands and the consumers is really changing. It's not about the funnel. It's not about, you know, acquisition, et cetera, et cetera. It's about developing an ongoing relationship. And I think mobile phones are very central to this, because your relationship with the customer can be in their pockets literally 24/7. How are you using specific technologies to extend your relationship with the consumer beyond the cruise, beyond the hotel stay, beyond the resort stay? Because it's, you know, people, as we were saying earlier, Maria, people could stay with you maybe once every 1.5 years, 2 years, etc. What opportunities are there to extend the relationship with the consumer using new technology or mobile messaging or CX?
Sure. So I think one of the very interesting features we implemented in Nordic market is it's called Guide Online, and you can actually chat 2 weeks before departure with our reps in destination. So if one of your child has certain allergy, you can actually question, what about the breakfast, what about the meals, is that sort of, will that be solved on the spot? And so that's very much high engaging driving feature. And in terms of then locking back the customers into, okay, well, come travel with us again. There are different initiatives, so you can obviously push notify them in terms of, or remind them that this is anniversary of the holiday with us. You know, maybe there's a time to again start thinking about, dreaming about the next stay. Equally, there are all different sort of more engaging technologies we're trialing and we're looking into. You know, playback memories. What do you do with that? Can you use all the social media content generated, get that sort of back and surface that to customers? There are all different things we're sort of looking into.
Yeah, interesting. Has anyone got any, following on from that, any anecdotes about using content marketing, perhaps? You've just talked about social content.
So social's being... we have thousands of people on our ships every day, and they're taking photos. They've got their mobiles on them. They're sharing with friends and family. And I think user-generated content is one of those things that brands could use even more of. why spend lots and lots of money on photographers going to the destinations when we've got people with cameras that are just as good as some of the professional digital cameras. They're very talented photographers out there. And we've got people who are, you go from the classic dream, explore, book, experience. And while they're in that experience stage, they're actually just starting to move into the dream stage again, and it's back to that cycle rather than a marketing funnel. So let's capture that interest, capture their content, and then feed it out to a wider audience. And that's proved really successful for us.
Yeah, so you see big value in terms of addressing millennials by kind of using brand advocates and creating the channels for them to share their experience.
And I think also using brand advocates who aren't the traditional influencers online. So I think millennials have kind of wised up to, this is an influencer, a brand has paid them some money, they've gone on a holiday, they get a free holiday and a bit of money, and they reach out to their audience. I think actually getting authentic people, so in January and February we sent a couple called Fred and Karen to the Caribbean on one of our ships, and they were just normal people who run a local restaurant in Yorkshire, and it went down so well because it didn't come across as staged or a famous person. It was just normal people having a great time on a holiday, and we happened to be following them around with our social accounts.
Yeah, I think that's a really timely point. What was that festival? The Fire Festival, the Kendall Jenner endorsed.
Yeah.
Disaster music festival. Somebody mentioned that as possibly being a tipping point of the end of this kind of super influencers. And like you say, people, millennials in particular, they crave authenticity in terms of digital relationships. They don't trust brands so much, and maybe they don't trust super influencers so much. Interesting trend. So what other new technologies have you investigated in your respective areas? You mentioned chatbots the other day, a chatbot concierge. I found that quite interesting.
I think we had a chance to trial that at some point, and we're looking into it. And I think there are certain user-generated content aggregators that we've also been trialing, and in the past, and we'll see where that's going to then end up.
Okay, early days. How about yourself, Rennie?
We're doing our best. We're trying to invest in some innovative tools. We are working actually on a chatbot also with our colleagues of Accenture Interactive, and we will see where that will go and how we will be able to engage with our customer through that. But again, for us, it's always very difficult because we have a pain point in the hotel industry, which is our IT infrastructure. And I think a lot of companies have the same pain point, at least the big and old companies, is that we need to overcome this pain point. And for that, our IT infrastructure needs to be also coming into a new age. And our IT leaders needs to understand that, is that traditionally the hotel industry have been building their own IT infrastructure, which today we pay the price of, because our IT infrastructure is 40 years old, if you think about it. How can you be in the modern 2017 age and trying to come up with innovative tools when your heart, your technical or technological heart is 40 years old, and the only thing you can do is put some I don't know how you say that in English, but trying to have this system not to break down from one day to the other. That's an issue, and we are working, I think, actively in the hotel industry to try to overcome that. But again, that's also investments. We have been traditionally investing in our products, in our customers, a lot in marketing. Tomorrow we need to invest more in technology, in buying companies. I mean, my friend Cedric from Accor has been a good example. I mean, they are starting buying startups and technological companies, which I think is a good trend moving forward, is that we cannot build the today technology. It's impossible. We don't have the resources, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the capabilities to do so. We have to go outside and give experts the ability to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very wise approach. And Maria, you previously mentioned experimenting with hackathons. Is that right? Or you engage with the kind of developer community? Tell us a bit about that.
I think are different. It varies again per market. So different markets are organizing local hackathons just to see what that can result. And there've been a few interesting products coming out, some interactive maps, etc. So.
Interesting. I mean, I like the fact that you're both experimenting with chat, possibly all three of you experimenting with chatbots. I'm not sure. I mean, I like the idea that chatbots can be this way that you can scale one-to-one kind of interactions. So you can kind of deal with a lot of the very everyday, mundane queries, like can I have some towels or when do I have to check out, with the chatbot. You can also handle check-in on a mobile device, send somebody a code so they can just go straight to their room. It saves on the desk staff, etc. One of our clients, Club Mahindra in India, they've got 200,000 plus regular resort users. They introduced a chatbot for their staff in terms of how much holiday time have I got left? Can I take next Tuesday off, etc. Then they introduced it for their clients to order new towels and room service. And they found it to be immensely successful, and it kind of saves the humans in the chain for the high value, high touch, emotional kind of empathy interactions, which is really cool. So I wondered, would anyone in the audience like to interject and raise a question? Yes, we have a microphone, so please introduce yourself and say what company you're from as well, please. Oops, microphone. Hello, hello. Sound desk, thank you. We might have a little technical issue with one of these microphones, so we're just going to hold on a second. I'll pop down with this one.
Yeah, this works. Okay, hi, I'm Torben from Dual, and thanks first of all for your panel. And my question goes to James, and especially for cruises. You talked about user-generated content and millennials, and quite a bit about that. But isn't your audience so much wider than just millennials who, hang on Instagram every second? And how do you deal with your actually much broader target audience group?
So that's a very good question. So the cruise industry in the UK does index as a slightly older audience, but it really does depend on the duration of the cruise and the destination as well. So on some of our shorter cruises, so I'm going to Bruges on Friday, it's just a 2-night cruise, and that will have millennials on board. It's a taster cruise, it's people celebrating, we've had wedding anniversaries, those kind of things. But I also think the kind of Instagram generation, or Instagramming your experience, is also skewing older and older. So I think when Instagram was first launched, it was a very kind of 18s to 30 thing. But actually, if you look at the demographics of the users of Instagram, it's getting older and older and older. And it's the same, when Facebook came out, it was a college, uni type thing. And now it's widely adopted by everyone. And I think the same is happening with Instagram. And people are picking up the technology, people are using the cameras. And it goes across all different age demographics. Is that a fair answer?
Yeah, I think there is a demographic that's been defined by one of the analyst companies, possibly Gartner or someone like that, which is defined the grey millennial. So it's really kind of pushing the envelope slightly on the other end of the millennial scale. Any more questions from the audience at this stage? We have a hand up there. Yes, Ali. If you could introduce yourself and what company you're from.
My name is Ali. I'm from we81.com. I had a question about when a customer leaves your hotel, how do you evaluate the data to actually improve your hotel at the end when they leave?
So it's slightly difficult to hear that. Was that a question about how you leverage customer data?
Yeah.
And
how do you evaluate your customer?
Oh, the value of your customer data, and how do you kind of leverage the data to provide a better experience?
Well, we have to do it. It's the only way of knowing your customers more. What is very difficult is that the source of our customer data varies and is very wide, because as you can imagine, I mean, we have about 1,400 hotels across the world. We have 1,400 source of data of our customers. Yes, we can have a central source of data, which is our website, our apps, our mobile, and that we kind of mastering. I'm not going to say we do the best job out of it, but we kind of mastering because it's a centralized database. Now, what is the most important is the behavioral data of our customers when they experience the product. And that, for the hotel industry, is a huge challenge, because our hotels, if you don't own the hotels yourself, it's a different owner. They use different systems, and the consolidation of all that is very, very difficult. But you're right. I mean, this is the only way in the future to master the behavior and the knowledge about your customers. Now, also, it gives me the opportunity to also say something about the distribution of the hotel industry. As you know, the hotel industry is a very, very big intermediate industry. We sell a lot of our hotel rooms not directly to our customers, but through partners or through online travel agencies or through traditional travel agencies. And there also, they own a lot of data about our customers because at the end, they experience our product, they stay with us, they sleep in our beds, they sleep in our rooms. And that's also a challenge in this industry, is that there is no open source about the data that they are owning from our customers. And that is something that we need to lobby also at the European level, without the UK, unfortunately, but they that will work in the future, I guess. But we need to lobby this capacity to have open source data on customers, because that will help the real supplier to know better their customers.
Great answer and great question. Thank you. Does anyone else want to step in on data?
Well, I just wanted to say, I think the key is understanding your data, because then you can personalize the way you communicate, the way you surface the product to customer, and actually the way you interact with your customer. So that's just like building up on quite a full answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Forrester commented that we're now in the age of the customer, and there's 4 market imperatives. One is to embrace the mobile mind shift, and one is to leverage big data for business insights. And it's super, super important. And another one is to improve the CX around the mobile device. We maybe have time for one more question, if anyone has another question. Okay, I have another question. Where should we be looking for innovation from other markets? Like, for instance, China, Asia, is there interesting stuff going on there? Would you like to comment, Maria? Just because we spoke about this,
I'm not going to be
bit of a
necessarily
leading
speaking
question.
of hotels, but I think Asian market, it's quite interesting. Fintech field, I think whatever's going in sort of US, that's kind of interesting to also have a look. I mean, Silicon Valley is a no-brainer answer, right? But I would say AI is sort of quite important to look at, because chatbots will evolve, the technology will evolve, and it's going to have a huge impact on, I think, corporates as ours in the future.
And technology moves fast. 8 years ago, less than 1% of global web traffic came from mobile devices, and now it's over 50%. 8 years. So would anyone like to take a wild guess at what we might see next? Just as a closing comment.
So I'll take a wild guess. So it's not that wild either. I think the voice, so we're all getting much more happy with voice searching on our phones, Alexas in our homes, and that has some place in our travel, leisure industries. In a hotel, why do I have to phone reception still? Why can't I just speak to an Alexa device or something similar, and that can personalize my stay there? Why do I need a reception or all this kind of thing? So I think it's not the wildest of guesses, but in the next 5 years, we'll all have those systems in our rooms, and that will be how we personalize our guests' experience.
Yeah, a really great point. I think you're totally right. I can totally see that happening. Any more guesses for the future?
For me, it's to facilitate the relationship with your customer. We are all in the hospitality industry, and that is also very important. We need to keep it hospitality, is that the human contact will always remain. That's our strength today, is that we are in an industry where you still build relationships with humans. To my marketing team, I try to tell them B2B, B2C, over. Don't segment that way anymore. It's H to H, human to human. We are talking, and the technology should be an enabler to optimize this relationship. But we don't have to give away because of technology. Technology needs to remain this enabler. And I think that's very, very, very important. And sometimes in big hospitality industries or companies, they tend to forget that. I mean, having a robot serving your room service dinner, fine, very fancy. Actually, they launched it 1 year ago, and it remains a game. It's just like a little game in the hotel. You still have to have human relationship. That's the strength of our industry, and we don't have to lose that, because otherwise, then we will put our industry in the hands of the machines, and That's not good. That's not good.
Absolutely. I think that's possibly a perfect place to end our panel. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking James, Maria, and Remy for their excellent comments. Thank you all so very much. Wonderful.